Ah, Kim is here. Amazing.
Rob, Rob,
Buddy.
my man, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, when I swing, I put that fire to your chest. Talking ass, better wear a fucking vest.
Yo, you never responded to the last thing I sent you over Twitter.
What did I sorry, I was doing a lot of shit today. What was
No,
what did you
you're
send me?
fine. Let me double check what my last response to your. Oh yeah, so you were telling me that my claim, or rather my position, that the moral compass is an internal tool was circular. And what I
Yeah, like
responded to
yeah,
you was
I
that
think that is I think that
essentially
is
that kids aren't born, like humans aren't born with a moral sense, right?
I think
These are
I
things
no, I
that we've
agree that kids
learned.
are born with a moral sense. I think I said something to the fact that it is developed, but it's both developed and created. I think that's where I was trying to go with that.
Created in what sense?
Like I believe that God creates us with His moral. Like God, like I'm obviously I'm let's say this. So God is perfectly moral, and we have a sense of morality because God creates us with that sense of morality. But that gets
Okay.
developed as we grow and develop and become adults.
So how would we test this? Let's presume that we could do this ethically, right? Because I don't think that
Sure,
any ethics
sure.
board would let us do this. But presume that we had a child that existed, right?
Okay.
Uncontacted by the rest of humanity, right?
Sure.
We wait 20 years for that child to grow up in complete isolation. Would you
Sure.
expect that child to have a moral sense of any kind?
Yep, I would.
Interesting. So
There are things I believe that people can know without having any exposure to the outside world.
So what are those things then?
Like I believe that intuitively you would just know, even if you've never had contact with a human being before, that it's wrong to kill someone, or that it's wrong to hurt them without provocation.
What would give you that impression if you had never participated in a society? What is the
Instinct.
mechanism? Instinct?
It's total instinct. You have
So
that.
when
Like,
you say
like,
instinct, you're referring to humans as like a natural animal, right?
no, I'm not referring as a natural animal. Just like every creature has instincts.
Okay, so that's like the animal part of the brain, though, right? That's not the advanced social part of the brain that we're talking about. That's
No,
like
no,
the base state of
morals get developed. Morals and gets developed more obviously more strongly with socialization.
Sure,
But
sure. But the instinct portion, where is that coming from? Is that coming from
again,
man as an animal?
I believe that's created, and I think that even in isolation, you can develop a sense of ethos without a contact with the outside world.
Well, I guess that makes sense from your point of view, because you think humans are like separate from animals, right? That we're some sort of
Yeah, I totally
population.
believe that's separate. I totally believe it's a human. Yeah, I don't believe humans are animals. I
Interesting.
believe we can act like animals, but I don't believe we are animals.
Well, that I'll agree with you on. Yeah, we definitely can act like animals sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I find
like,
that fascinating.
and I think Kim, that I think that this is an attack on a position, not an attack on you. But I think your position, that is Darwinian atheism, is
I would object to that. That's not. You can't play
no. Here, let me
the
finish.
God question with.
Let me finish the sentence. I think
Sure.
your worldview opens a door for it.
Opens a door for what?
Animalistic behavior.
Animalistic behavior. In what sense?
I think that if you kick God out of the equation, so to speak, you open the door for just about any kind of anything in terms of conduct. I mean, look at our world today. We're living in a clown world. Like, people believe that they can be the opposite gender. That's not reality.
Well, that's a separate conversation. So,
well, that's a separate conversation. What my point is, is back to my original point, which is that worldview opens the door for all kinds of bad stuff. That's all I'm saying with that. I think it opens the door for it.
I mean, I guess if you're from your perspective, right? Because you believe that morality is like an objective thing that exists outside of humans, right?
Yeah. So yeah,
I guess you define immorality as that which goes against what you believe God wants, right?
Well,
So
not what God wants, but God is the standard of morality, I believe.
sure,
God,
but like what goes against God is immoral fundamentally to you, right?
yeah, but what goes against God?
There is nothing that one can do against God that would be even like outside of the concept of morality.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's interconnection between that morality and what we do with ourselves. Like, for example, the Ten Commandments are a baseline to God, but they're also a violation. At least half of them are a violation against people.
In what sense?
Well, I mean, half the commandments deal with human behavior. Don't commit adultery. That's human behavior. Don't lie. That's human behavior.
But you label those as violations. What part of that is a violation?
Trust. They violate trust.
Violate trusts. It violates the trust of humanity towards God.
Toward each other and towards both. It breaks the horizontal and the vertical bonds of trust.
The commandments themselves existing breaks that trust.
No. The commandments exist as proclivities or boundaries for healthy relationships. That's the point of the commandments. They're for our own good. It's like, you can think. Let me put it this way: we can think of the commandments as gatekeeping from fun, or we can think of the commandments as gatekeeping from self-destructive behavior.
Sure. But what I'm getting at, right, is that you fundamentally anything that goes against God is categorically immoral, right? That which is moral is what goes against God, and that which goes against God is immoral, right?
That would be fair.
So there's nothing in your mind that a person could do that goes against God that isn't immoral, or that God isn't concerned about. Everything that a human being can do is either moral or immoral, right?
Yeah, but I think it can be dicey because obviously there's categories too, right? Like even in morality, there's still a hierarchy of a top-down system value.
Sure, but I mean the objective.
But on the face of it, yeah. But on the face of it, I agree with your analysis.
Okay, see, because from where I stand, right, I care about relationships and interactions between human beings, right? Well, no, your system deals directly, but as interactions between humans and God, right?
Yeah.
Everything that we do to each other is also something that is being done to or for God, essentially.
In a roundabout way,
because everything either conforms or doesn't conform with God's standard, if we want to call it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So I'm not concerned with that relationship. I'm concerned with the horizontal of like individual ethical actors in any given social interaction, right? So there are definitely things from my point of view that don't lie within morality. There are things that are amoral, as in they exist outside because they don't concern that relationship.
Okay, right? So what would you consider amoral?
Without getting into anything extreme, like
well, if it's extreme, it's probably not immoral.
To be general and to give you a good example of what I mean by this, animal cruelty.
I mean, animal cruelty between itself or ours to them?
No. An individual with a lawfully owned animal, right? The animal is a piece of property that this person owns. What you do to that doesn't concern any other people. It doesn't hurt anybody else. So I don't really have a moral position on it. I don't like it personally, right? I think it's icky to do mean things to animals.
I think it's evil. I think animal cruelty is evil.
Sure, absolutely. And I agree with you, but it's not.
I think people who commit animal cruelty should be locked up.
I would be okay.
I mean, not necessarily for a long period of time.
I'm not against.
I think it warrants some jail time.
It's just to me it's a matter of personal like preference, right? Are you like personally okay with people doing shit to their own property? Because if you're not okay with animal cruelty,
I think
when
part of your property includes a living creature, I think that's a little bit different.
Well, I'm only concerned with human interactions, right? All of the rest of nature is either unowned or owned property.
So So you're only concerned with human interaction. You're ambivalent
for
about,
morality, for moral purposes.
Okay, so that's what I mean. So for morality purposes, you're ambivalent about how humans treat the rest of the world.
Yeah, I'm ambivalent. It lies outside the scope of morality for me. All of nature is property, either owned or unowned, right? I don't think we should do like wanton, unnecessary damage to the environment, right? But the environment itself is not a moral actor. It cannot be like aggressed upon.
No, I mean the
animals don't have rights.
Natural world itself can't be moral because the natural world doesn't have. In order to be moral, you have to have a mind, will, and desires.
Yeah, you have to have sapience, agency. You have to be able to like
exactly. Yeah. So in order to be a moral creature, you have to have a mind, will, and emotions.
Right. I mean, we can define it that way. I'm
actually, I was going to say the only creatures on this planet that can be moral are humans.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Because an animal kills an animal, no one gives a shit. But a human kills a human, that's different.
Yeah, that is different, right? Because the human life has a fundamental like value. We all agree that it has value, right? And so by fiat, it does. I personally
looking forward to June 3rd, man.
Dude, honestly, I've been